Alright. Hi, my name is Floyd Anderson. I'm here to talk to you guys about something that's near and dear to me, my fish tank. People that are going to be here listening today is Kaylee Anderson, my daughter, Naomi Anderson, my daughter, some guy we met on the street, and my other daughter, Leah Anderson.
I'm filming.
Alright, so the general purpose is to introduce the intricacies of maintaining a thriving saltwater fish tank. As you can see right now, I just started this guy up, and it's going to take a little while to get it to where I want it to be. After listening to my speech, the audience should understand the importance of parameter balance and a nitrogen cycle within a closed loop system. In order to maintain a thriving saltwater reef in a closed system, three things are important: filtration, trace elements, and good husbandry. So many studies have indicated that owning a fish tank in the house relieves stress, anxiety, and other stuff. However, I will tell you that is not true. This fish tank has stressed me out more than anything. Even my 18-year-old daughter. So, it happens to make things disappear, like my money, time, energy. However, I love it, and it does add a nice decor to the house. And when I'm not tinkering with it, it's very relaxing. I've been maintaining saltwater systems now for over 12 years. I've done a lot of things, built reef clubs. I was in the military, and we went on deployments a lot, so we helped each other out by taking care of each other's tanks while they were on deployment. Relevance, you guys have seen these fish tanks in the aquarium, you guys have seen them at doctor's offices, you guys have, and I'm sure you all often wondered what it takes to maintain one, so we're going to talk about that today. Based on my addiction to maintaining my own ecosystem, I've got decades worth of research and trial and error, and I've built many of my own filtration systems, which are all hidden inside this closet right here. And at one point I was even looking at getting into designing fish tanks for a career path. I will be discussing the necessities of proper husbandry and understanding the nitrate cycle. Now the nitrate cycle, many people when they first get a fish tank, they set it up, they put water in it, and they immediately put fish into it, and that's then they wonder why all their fish die, and then they run out to the store, they buy some more fish, and they put it back in the tank, and then they all die. And that cycle continues until the person gets frustrated and just says, hey, I don't want this anymore. What they're not understanding is the important bacterial requirements that need to be met. So within the tank water column and on the rocks and in the substrate, you've got bacteria, both anaerobic and aerobic. Both these different types of bacteria do different things as far as the nitrogen cycle goes. So your fish waste and undissolved organics create ammonia, and this ammonia is very toxic to the fish. If there's not a way for it to be broken down, it will kill your fish off within hours, maybe days. So it's important to balance your bioload with your bacteria load. Your aerobic bacteria, meaning your bacteria that's on the surface and gets a lot of oxygen, that breaks down your nitrites. So your nitrites is converted when bacteria consume the ammonia and turn it into nitrite. The anaerobic bacteria, which is underneath your substrate, deep in your rock systems, and that's what creates your nitrates, from your nitrites to nitrates. So it's important to keep that balance going, because if you don't, then you end up lopsided and your fish tank will be empty. Establishing a reef tank has taken into account many of the aspects of nature and try to replicate them in a shallow box. You're trying to simulate everything that's going on the in the ocean right here in this box. And as you can see, I've got lots of equipment set up. I've got lights, I've got my power heads, which create the water currents, and coral reef has lots of water flow, sunlight, and typically very balanced water column. Items that are needed as follows. So the fish tank obviously is step number one. You get a fish tank, you design it the way you want it to be set up, decide what kind of fish, what kind of corals, what you want to go into it. That way it saves you the headache of having to change it later on down the road. Filtration, there are many different types of filtration. I choose to go with a sump refugium / mechanical filtration, which is pretty in depth. The refugium allows for your macroalgae and your amphipods and copepods to grow in a safe place without being messed with your fish, because your fish will eat them. So it gives them a safe place to grow, and as they grow, they actually pull the heavy metals and the nutrients from the water and use it for themselves to grow. And the way to export it is you pull it out and throw it away. And that's one way of exporting excess nutrients. So filtration is very important. Flow is also important. If you have too much of a dead spot, nutrients will build up in that dead spot, which will cause you to have a bacterial bloom. I don't know if you guys ever been to the Pacific Ocean, and you'll see the red patches all over the ocean. That is a bacterial bloom, and that's excessive nutrients. That's nature's way of taking the nutrients out. Lighting is the most important for corals. If you're having just a fish tank system, then not so important, but if you plan on keeping corals, it's extremely important. Different phases of lights, different stages of lights, different corals demand different intensities. You have everything from LEDs to metal halide to power compact to T5 fluorescence. Corals have a symbiotic relationship with algae that lives within their tissues. This algae uses photosynthesis to create sugars, and then the sugars are fed to the coral so that their main diet is sunlight. They get 85 to 90% of their diet from this photosynthesis. Small polyp stony corals are the thick branching, hard as rock corals. Those are the ones that you see that look like trees without leaves. They have very small polyps, and they tend to need the most intense lighting. Because they are not mobile, they have to wait for food to come to them, or they get most of their food from the sun. Your large polyp stonies are big fleshy corals that have tentacles that will come out and sweep, and they can actually go out and look for food. Though they're not mobile, their tentacles can reach up to 14-15 inches across the tank and can find food. Soft corals are just that, they're soft, they have no skeletal structure. They flow with the flow of the ocean, with the current of the ocean, and they pick up whatever they can out of the water column. Understanding what kind of corals you will be keeping will allow you to decide on the type of lighting you will need. So, like I said before, your Acropora, Goniopora, those are all going to require intense lighting. Your LPS, your large polyp stonies, are going to require medium lighting. And then your leathers and your soft corals are going to require low lighting. Parameters are important. We talked about it earlier. You have your nitrates. You also have your calcium, your magnesium, your alkalinity. All of those things are vital in order to maintain a saltwater fish tank. The good thing about parameters is once you have it balanced, it pretty much just stays right where it's supposed to. It becomes a self-sustained system. The hard part is getting it to that. So as we talked a little bit earlier about the nitrite, fish waste, undissolved organics are broken down into ammonia. Ammonia is then consumed by bacteria and converted into nitrite. Anaerobic bacteria convert nitrite to nitrate. Nitrates are consumed by algae, and algae are eaten by macroorganisms. These organisms are consumed by the corals and fish, and the cycle starts all over again. And that is what keeps a balanced system. So bioload, I said it earlier, bioload is the amount of fish that you have in the fish tank. If you have too many fish and not enough bacteria, it throws the nitrite cycle off, which ends up killing everything in your tank. In review, I briefly glanced over all of the important requirements to successfully keep a saltwater fish tank. There are many ways of being successful, but the basics are constant. If you understand the basics and you allow it to get to a point, it will become self-sustainable. It is important to understand the basic principles, and setting up a saltwater system is a slow game. Rushing into it always ends in disaster. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining the crowd here. I get a golf clap. Please, golf clap. Golf claps. Golf claps. Thank you.